I will call this Tigard City Council meeting to order. City Recorder Krager, please call roll.
Mayor Lube,
Here.
Councilor Robbins,
Here.
Councilor Schlack,
Here.
Councilor Shaw,
Here.
Council President Wolf,
Here.
Youth Councilor Manini,
Here.
Councilor Godusi,
Here.
Councilor Hu.
Here.
Thank you. If everyone will please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Does the city team or city council have any non-agenda items this evening? Okay. Seeing none, we will move on to public comment. If you'd like to provide public comment by phone or video, please log in now to get into the queue. And the phone number is 503-966-4101. Anyone who wishes to make public comment in person, there is a sign-up sheet at the back of the room. There was no written comments received by noon yesterday for the meeting. City Recorder Krager, has anyone signed up to speak in person today? All right, there is no one. Mr. Vang, are there any phone callers?
Oh, we have no callers in the queue, Mayor.
All right, thank you so much. I know that went really quickly, so if by chance someone hops on, can you let me know?
Will do.
Thank you. And we will start with community updates with our police chief and the Tigard Police Department. Welcome, Chief McDonald.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I have tonight, I would normally do what we would cover as the dashboard for January, and that would have come out in the council packet for all of you. And so if you have any questions on that specifically, be happy to answer those. But what I wanted to hit tonight, and I don't know if we have slides available
We do.
or not. If we don't, it was just pictures really anyway, and everybody loves photos. But I wanted to talk about some burglaries that our commercial crimes unit was involved with recently. So going back a few months, in fact, back into the month of November, we did an initial news release on some residential burglaries that had impacted not only Tigard, but several communities around us. And then as we developed this investigation, we found that indeed these burglaries were connected. And not only here in Washington County, so Tigard, unincorporated Washington County, and Beaverton all had similar burglaries that we were able to connect together. But we also identified cases in, I'm gonna try and get all of these locations correct, but Eugene, Bend, Lakewood, Washington, the Everett, so north of Seattle area. And then recently, just since we did the news release last week, we've identified that there's related burglaries in California as well. So in the news release, we said 39 burglaries. That number is definitely higher now that we've connected to these individuals. So on the 2nd of February, we coordinated with Portland, Eugene, Bend, Oregon City, Clackamas County Sheriff's Office to do 3 search warrants, one in Oregon City, one in Portland, and one in Bend simultaneously, which, as you can imagine, is a pretty huge coordinated effort to get all of those agencies and everybody put together. It required tactical teams, so SWAT teams, to do all of them to make sure they were done safely for the individuals that were suspected of committing these crimes, as well as the officers that were involved in doing those investigations. No one was injured, thankfully, but we did arrest 4 individuals that we have multiple felony cases for burglary on, and we did recover a fair bit of the property as well. And so we're in the process of connecting the property back to the victims, which is a tall task. And if you were to see our commercial crimes unit office pretty much every day right now, you would see how much of a task that is, because they have to pull that evidence out, go through it, catalog it, and then put it back into evidence every day. It can't just be left out, right? So they continue to work on this case, but we've made 4 arrests. We've done additional search warrants. We did a search warrant we did the search warrants on that Wednesday, and then on that Sunday, and then on that next Wednesday. A few days later, we did another search warrant in Portland. So go ahead and go to the next slide, please, because pictures are always fun. And so this slide is in Portland. That is Portland's SWAT team or their CERT team as they're preparing to serve the search warrant. Next slide, please. These are the vehicles that we have seized so far as a part of this. So these are vehicles that we have identified as being related to committing the crimes that have been involved in the burglaries that the suspects have actually driven. And then the final slide, please, is just a photo of some of the recovered property. So a lot of the items that were being stolen is cash, which is obviously very difficult to reconnect to the owners, but jewelry. And jewelry is, although very difficult, is much easier than cash, obviously, but it takes people actually identifying which pieces of jewelry they have. And this is where I can give a community reminder. If you store jewelry at home, please take photos of it. Keep those in a safe place, and then if you were ever to have your home broken into, then it gives us a much better opportunity to reconnect your stolen property back to you, because it's incredibly difficult, as you can imagine looking at those piles of jewelry there, to be able to connect someone back to their property if we don't have more definitive ways to identify it. So this is an excellent case. As I said, it spans multiple states. It doesn't stop at Oregon, Washington, and California. It doesn't stop with just agencies that I mentioned. There are agencies all across the country that we're connecting with, as well as some of our federal partners in terms of, because some of this is interstate theft. But the interesting thing is the 4 suspects actually lived here locally in the Portland area. So they were operating out of the Portland area. They were victimizing people in the metro area and then traveling to different places. But they're also connected to a larger, I guess, theft ring. And that's probably all I should share in a public meeting at this point. But it is a much bigger investigation that does continue and probably will continue for quite some time. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about this particular case. But I wanted to circle back on it because we had actually been working on this since October when one of our detectives in our commercial crimes unit discovered what he thought was a connection and a pattern. And there was some community, I guess, unease that prompted a letter from some members of our community. And the unfortunate thing is when we get, when sometimes people bring up, hey, you're not doing anything about this, we actually can't share that we actually are doing something for operational security. But it was a couple weeks later we were able to share that we felt these burglaries were connected. We knew they were at that time. It was just developing our suspects at that point. So this is a lot of work has gone into this so far. So to connect definitively 39 home burglaries is pretty substantial, and that's across a pretty wide part of the state. And a couple of the cases we've solved for our friends in Washington. So, but anyway, any questions that anyone might have on this stuff?
Thank you. I was going to ask, did Tiger take the lead on this and work with other agencies? Did our commercial crimes unit are the ones who took the lead on it? Yeah,
well, Mayor, I think it's fair to say that we, through collaboration with some other agencies, Eugene actually had done quite a bit as well, but we didn't know that. Eugene was working on it. They had they had developed 2 of the same 4 suspects that we had. So when we started to share some information with other agencies, detectives in Eugene reached out and said, hey, these are going to be related. So that kind of helped open the door, and we started to realize this is going to be much bigger than just the metro area. So I think it's fair to say that actually it's probably Tigard, Eugene, and Bend, all probably the collaboration together really brought that together. If it weren't for probably the tenacity of Detective Welch from our commercial crimes unit, it probably, we might not have been able to connect near as many cases, just because he's super proactive and he's like, I'm going to figure this out. So it's multi-pronged. I mean, I don't know that we would have broken it as wide open if he hadn't just been so like, hey, what's going on? We need to figure this out. So.
Thank you for that information. That's really helpful. And I'm so thankful for all of the work that our commercial crime unit does, because they're such an invaluable unit to not only our city, but our entire region and the coast. Because we talk about this, I think, way more than any other jurisdiction does about the work that our commercial crime team does. So it's incredible to show the community, all the work that our officers are doing.
Yeah, and I'll pass that on too, Mayor.
Councilor Shaw?
Thank you, Chief, and echoing the mayor's comments, thank you so much. I wanted just to quickly thank you for the crime snapshot report that we received. It does mention a graffiti. There's been an increase. We do know, particularly on our Main Street downtown, is there anything that owners there, and we've talked about having, this is particular on windows, which I don't know if we've seen before, but what would you advise either those who have businesses nearby that feel like they're impacted, or those businesses that have been impacted? What can we do for them or with them or to assist?
Yeah, thank you for asking, because one of the things that our officers do, so the police officers that are working in that area, our community service officer, they're the ones that are ending up going out and taking those reports, and then sometimes having to go and tell property owners, business owners, homeowners, hey, you've got to clean this up because the municipal code says you have a certain amount of time, you need to clean this up. But we do help them. Sometimes our officers will actually be like, hey, if you got a can of paint, I've got, an extra 10 or 15 minutes, and they go out there and they'll actually do it. And, as time allows, they'll do that. One of the other things is that we encourage especially business owners to get surveillance cameras, and then they can put those into a spot that is, usually the taggers are hitting the same spots, right? They're going back to the same spot because it has a little bit of protection. It isn't right out in the wide open. But if you have some surveillance cameras there and then you're able to share that video with us after it's happened, it gives us that opportunity to identify who they are. We had one recently within the last month where we were getting tagged multiple times. I think 4 or 5 times. So one of our officers took one of the trail cams that we have, set it up, and it caught the person tagging, and then the person decided, I just got caught on this camera. They destroyed the camera, but it still had the video card in it. And we knew who they were. It was somebody that was known to us. So it made it pretty easy for the officers to go and be able to arrest that person, to hold them accountable. So the video piece is really helpful for us, especially when we're trying to solve it. Lighting is also important. If they have the ability to create some more lighting, that ends up helping to deter folks that might be doing that. So.
Thank you so much, Chief, and perhaps a reminder too that both the Chamber of Commerce, Tigard Chamber of Commerce, and the city have a partnership with the Small Sustainability Fund, and included in there, there could be some reimbursement for security cameras and lighting situations. So just to highlight that, that's an opportunity. But thank you, Chief.
Yeah, thank you for the reminder.
Councilor Gadusi?
Out of curiosity, how do you even begin the cash recovery process after a robbery?
It's actually incredibly difficult. So, one of the hardest parts about it is you have no way of proving how much cash someone may have had on hand. the only way to do it is if someone were to have photos of the serial numbers on the bills. It's the only way. And that's next to impossible because, I don't know that I've ever taken a picture of any cash that I've ever had myself. And the unfortunate thing is our suspects specifically chose groups of people that they know or reasonably expect have large amounts of cash and jewelry on hand. And they focus specifically on certain groups. So they were focused on who they were trying to victimize. So it is next to impossible to reunite cash to the appropriate owner. It's next to impossible. Yeah.
Council President Wolf?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, kind of along that line, I'm fascinated about the process of kind of putting the pieces together, but I won't ask you to share those details. I'm sure that's not for a public meeting, but again, just really appreciate all the work. So Chief, what I was curious about is there was an article in the Oregonian, it might have been over the weekend, kind of that, how is the reforms in Measure 110 and who's going into deflection, who's not. And I felt the kind of message was, well, it's mixed. We don't see as many going in as we'd like. And so I just thought I'd kind of take your feedback on Washington County. And I felt like the article was encouraging in terms of as we move forward, but always something that I'm curious about. So just a quick kind of what you're feeling, how we're doing
Sure.
on that process. Thank you.
Yeah, and so I was supposed to get an update last Thursday on kind of where Washington County is at, but we had a snow day. Well, I didn't have a snow day. A lot of people did. I was still here, but the meeting I was supposed to go to was canceled on Thursday. But what I can say is the last data that I saw is it's below what our expectations were for people entering into deflection. And a large part of that has to do with their eligibility. So meaning whether or not whatever they were contacted for, maybe they had some other crime that was associated with it, or they have some other disqualifying factor, even though maybe it was just the possession that they were cited for and then they were given the information. Once they were evaluated on the backside, which is not something that the police do, it's something that's worked on through the providers and the district attorney's office, that they then identified some other disqualifying factor. And so that is probably the largest one because the officers are going to know if there's a secondary or a contributing factor. So if there's an arrestable offense, it would be something that would get added on to that arrestable offense. So if it's somebody that qualifies for the deflection, which is just the possession piece, they would give them the deflection route, the officers would. But then on the backside, there's some other disqualifying factor. So the last I had heard, and that was in December, was that it is below what the expectations were. That doesn't mean that it isn't working for some individuals, though. Yeah.
Any additional questions from councilors? Seeing none, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Our next community update is from the Tigard Area Chamber of Commerce, and we have Chamber Board Chair Tom Engel here with us remotely. Welcome, Tom.
Good evening, everybody. I apologize for not being there today. Something that's not well known is some folks may know that we have a robust wildlife community here in our area. They are very adaptive, and I found out about that at 5:38 yesterday morning when my dog ran into a very large, robust skunk on the side of our yard, which is also near our HVAC intake. So it has been kind of an interesting last 24 hours here. So for the sake of everybody, I just decided to do this remotely.
We thank you for that.
Yes, the cartoons that we all grew up with are extremely misleading about these creatures. They are not at all cute, cuddly, or yeah. Anywho, let's go on here. So you have the update in front of you in written form. Just a few things to highlight here. Valentine's weekend obviously the snow, the ice, please, if you think about it, frequent a local business, restaurant, etc. One day out of commission really does impact a small business, and your visits would make a huge difference. So please encourage your family and friends to shop local. Leadership Tigard, we had a great government day on Tuesday. The cohort learned about government in Oregon, Washington County, and Tigard. Thank you, city, county, and state, who helped facilitate some of those conversations. It is really insightful. Advocacy and government affairs, we are obviously meeting online still. We did submit written testimony on House Bill 3119 and SB 916. We encourage other businesses to continue to make their voices heard. The Tigard Chamber is hosting the National Civics Bee on March 8th from 1 to 4. We're getting Representative Bauman to do some MC work, and Mayor Lube is going to be one of our judges, so thank you very much for that. We are looking forward to just starting today, actually notifying the top 20 finalists that they have been selected, so please join us on March 8th. High school seniors, we still are taking applications, and anyone with a zip code in 223 or 224, if you know of anybody, please encourage them to apply. Farmers Market still going in terms of accepting applications for the 2025 season. If you know of anyone who might be interested in sponsoring the season, please contact the chamber staff. We could also use your help with Shining Stars nominations as well. First Citizen, From the Heart, and the Tigard Youth Volunteer, please check out the link on the site. Other things to highlight, you know about Good Morning Tigard, 60 plus attendees. It's a great, easy way to kind of get a feel for what's going on in the community. Stay tuned to the Tigard Chamber website. Those are your key dates for ribbon cuttings and other events on the bottom of the page. And always, please keep an eye on our social media, LinkedIn, Instagram. And final note, always keep a good supply of hydrogen peroxide and baking soda in your cupboard should you need it.
That's just a pro tip from you to the community?
Yes, it's, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for the updates. I do have a question as far as the Shining Stars and the awards. When are the nominations due for those? Do you happen to know?
That is a great question. I do not know off the top of my head. Take a look at the website. I'm sure our cutoff time is there.
Okay. Are there any additional questions for Mr. Engel? Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope your problem, dissipates quickly.
It's actually dissipating quite nicely, and if you have any cleaning tips or other questions, please feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to share what I know.
Have a great night. Thank you. The next community update we have is the Tigard High School Envoy with Maddie Vogel. Welcome, Maddie. It's always nice to see you here every month.
Okay, this one works. Okay, so semester 2 is off to a strong start at Tigard High School. We have, we're getting through the halfway point. I'm a senior, so I'm very much excited for that. Continuing with the Tigard High School vision for student success, all students will graduate choice ready. That continues all year, especially for the senior class, looking at what it looks like after graduation. We have a new motto: we care, we seek knowledge, and we never give up. We're looking into this at a more deep level, just to make sure this is not performative, but actually effective in our halls. It's been a big part of what we've done in leadership. We've also been working on student recognitions. That's been doing Students of the Week, names and pictures up on the TV screens around the school, just little things like that to kind of point out the ones that are making the difference. We have a very exciting week this week. It's Unity Week, so this has always been my favorite week at Tigard. It's kind of interesting. I think every school does this differently, but the way we do it is that we do different days each week, or each day of the week is a different kind of theme around what Unity looks like at Tigard. So today we did an intro to Unity, which was through a third period extension. Tomorrow we have our Voices Assembly, which is my absolute favorite thing in the whole world, so I wish the community could come and see it. But it's basically where students can talk about their stories either anonymously or come forward that are kind of tailored to the idea of unity. And then on Thursday, we have a Unity paw print craft. We're gonna hang up, make a mural. And then on Friday, we have a multicultural assembly to see our affinity groups do some performances and do some speaking activities. We're also having all of our affinity groups tied into this, both with their input as well as doing lunchtime activities. So today, BSU, our Black Student Union, hosted a Kahoot about Black History Month and what that looks like. It was really fun, very engaging. The kids love it at lunch, so I love it too. I like playing. Next week is Kindness Week through STUD, which I know we've talked about here at Council. That's Stop Tigard Underage Drinking and Drugs. That's tying in kind of with Unity Week as well, but with leadership and all of our clubs. We have Service Club, National Honor Society, things like that. We're doing lunchtime activities, garland making, kindness cards, Kahoots, things like that. Advanced leadership has been very busy, very, very busy, but that's okay. Seniors are working on senior sweatshirt designs, as well as doing a Dutch Bros truck. So we're gonna play a game at an assembly that all grades are gonna participate in, but the seniors are going to win. That's a secret. And then we're gonna get a fun Dutch truck that we can have at lunch. And then juniors are planning prom, which will be the first weekend in May, as well as helping with Unity Week. Sophomores and freshmen had a really good winter formal, but also took some time to just kind of reflect on what makes dances and how we can tailor them to the audience that we have, because that's changed a lot in the last few years from COVID. Leadership Events Activities Committee hosted Tigard Coffee House, kind of like a little symposium that we do in the library. We're actually looking to have a second one this year as well, but it was great. Many attendees and all the food was eaten up. Assemblies is doing prom assembly. Communications is doing shoebox advice boxes. They're gonna hang and then they'll have questions. It's cute. We'll have pictures on Instagram. Internal Club Committee and Funds did a second club rush, really successful. Human Rights, which is HR, is doing Unity Week, so we've really been able to see all their hard work pay off this week, which has been great. And then Spirit has been doing some trading cards for senior basketball players. Sports, basketball is a doubleheader tomorrow at Tualatin, so rival game. Both girls and boys are playing there. Times are posted on the Instagram. And boys should make it to the playoffs, so that's exciting. And swimming has state this weekend. They have 8 qualifiers, so we'll be there packing the pool. Wrestling also has a state qualifying tournament this weekend, so they will also be there, and we will also be cheering them on. Dance is going to nationals in 3 weeks, but they have their last competition this weekend at Park Rose, and then they will be headed to Anaheim, maybe about a month actually, but they're prepping a lot for that. And important date is the Night of Dance. That's always one of the best events. It's not a competition, just a celebration of every team that's participated this season, so that is on March 14th. I'm sure there'll be more information about that, but cheer competed at their last competition, and they're good to go. Affinity and arts groups. So we have our play coming up. That will be, or I guess it's our spring musical, She Loves Me. So that'll be the first full weekend in March, which is that 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then the second weekend, the 13th, 14th, and 15th in theaters at Deb Fennell. And we also are continuing our roundtable meetings. Those are happening once a month. We had one last week. Really working a lot with Unity Week, but now that we're done with that, we'll be working on Multicultural Night. And affinity groups are being included with Unity Week activities, which has been a big part to kind of get their name out there, which has been very helpful. Last but not least is service and policy. So Service Club and NHS are finishing up their year. A lot of service projects going on. One I wanted to highlight, because I just thought this was great, and we talked about it this morning, was there's going to be sessions of art lit happening at Bonaventure Senior Living through our National Honor Society. So they will be taught also how to play chess. There will also be chess playing sessions. So I thought that was great, and that I would share because I think that's really funny. So if anybody knows anyone that lives there, it's happening multiple weekends this spring. So, and just to plug, National Honor Society and Advanced Leadership are running elections. So if anybody knows any students at Tigard High School, they should run. I like both of those things a lot. And Leukemia Lymphoma Society is doing their campaign. They're having their kickoff weekend soon, and then they'll be having their 3v3 March Madness basketball tournament. I believe the weekend of the 14th and 15th, maybe that 13th, but I'm not sure. Anyways, once we get some dates, I'll bring them on the March update. So that's it. I will answer any questions if needed.
You say that's it, that wasn't just a huge long list of things that our community students are up to. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Maddie? Seeing none, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just real quick. I just have to chuckle, Maddie, just listening to you. Is there anything that you don't like?
No.
super, but it's refreshing, it's energizing, and I so appreciate you coming here
you.
every month. Just so excited and supporting your school. So just really wanted to give you a hard time, but really what that meant was to say thank you and just so
you.
appreciate that. And I think I got a little bit of school board alum status, and Mackenzie Colson invited me to Voices tomorrow.
Oh,
So
exciting.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm excited to listen. It's
Yes.
always an amazing event.
It's always my favorite. I love Tigard High, so it's easy to be excited. Yeah.
Thank you. The next community update we have is council liaison reports. Does anyone want to kick us off? Councilor Gadusi? And then we'll just rotate.
Sure, sounds great. So,
Oh, and I guess for those who don't know, this is an opportunity for us as the Tigard City Council to update each other and the community on the different boards and commissions we sit on as liaisons, just to highlight perhaps anything the council or community might be interested in on the important work happening in our boards and committees. Just thought it was, we've never really talked about what it is. I actually think that that's the first time in 6.5 years that anyway, so that's what it is for anyone who wonders.
So one of the boards was PRAB, the Parks and Rec. The main discussion was in talking about the Lossage property. So we had discussed with Metro to get UGB. One of the biggest issues is that active recreation isn't permissible. So initially it was thought to be maybe like a ball field or something like that, but that's not allowed with land usage currently. So they're looking at and talking about other possible options. So one of the things that they had discussed was an option for like a healthy, sustainable community, and looking at how that would look as a park, which ended up being quite interesting. And they have a couple of drafts, and so they'll probably be presenting that shortly. Public Work Department ended up giving us update, and then we got some of the rec updates. One of the biggest things that they discussed was the success of their Baby and Me classes. And so they're continuing to have more and more of those. And of course they have seasonal hiring that will be open shortly. And then the library board. They were talking a bit about the funding and governance with WCCLS, some of the issues with the way that it is a cooperative right now, and in terms of some of the funding that will be lost from the county level, some of the different options that we may have here locally. The biggest thing was they found large savings specifically in centralized collections, processing, and interlibrary loans. So they calculated about $4 million saving a year by centralizing a lot of those processes. So as they move forward, it's going to be about 2 to 3 years of reorganization. So from the front end, from the public, there may not be a lot of, hopefully, changes that the general population sees, but they're going to be doing a lot of work on the back end to make sure that they continue their services.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. This on. So I attended 4 meetings since my last council liaison report. On January 27th, I attended a meeting of the Willamette Intake Facility Commission. A new chair and vice chair were elected per the commission's traditional rotation of elected officers. I only mention this because Tigard will enter the rotation as vice chair in 2027 and then as chair in 2028, so it's a good thing to keep in mind since we were in the reshuffle process for council liaison roles. The commission adopted resolutions to update financial procedures in the Willamette Intake Facility Intergovernmental Agreement and also authorized the use of contingency funds to cover the cost of new fire alarm wiring in the raw water pump station in the Willamette River Water Treatment Plant. On February 3rd, I attended a meeting of the Planning Commission. The Commission continued a public hearing on Overlook at River Terrace and unanimously approved the applicant's concept and detailed plan applications. The Commission also held a public hearing on the Tigard Street Bridge replacement and unanimously recommended approval of a comprehensive plan amendment, sensitive lands review, and minor modification that should be coming before the Tigard City Council at some point. I also attended a meeting of the Urban Renewal Funding Selection Subcommittee on February 10th with Councilor Hu. We were taking bets on who would go first to talk about this item beforehand. The subcommittee began to review the various grant applications that the Town Center Development Agency offers with the goal of launching them in fiscal year 2025-2026. There was a discussion about how council goals and the policies that we all choose to emphasize through them may influence the grant applications going forward. And then I'll just mention that on February 12th, I joined Councilor Hu for a meeting of the Town Center Advisory Commission, but I'll let him, as the primary liaison, provide the update for that.
Thank you, Mayor. So I had 2 meetings. The first one was the Regional Water Providers Consortium Board. The purpose of this group is really education, awareness, communication. And so the main agenda items were to approve rate changes and move forward with the budget for next fiscal year. And then also focusing, as we all are, on advocacy and priority areas. And for this organization will be drinking water security and drinking water, stormwater, and wastewater infrastructure. So they're watching the legislature, as we all are, for things that we're passionate about and trying to support. And then the other one is the Community Development Block Grants, HUD dollars, in particular areas of emergency services and then infrastructure and public services. That grant cycle is underway. We have our all-day meeting on the 27th of February to review 9 applications within the cities of Washington County for nonprofits to get supports, as well as cities and communities to have infrastructure. So those are the biggies. Thank you.
There were 2 meetings. One of them for TIAC was based on our second one, which was our joint meeting with the Hillsborough YAC, which was a lot of fun from what I've heard. I unfortunately had to miss it because it was last Tuesday, and we were meeting last Tuesday. But from what I heard, it was a lot of fun for everyone. They got to get to know each other. They compared like YAC structures, and they were able to like get ideas on what we can do to improve our YACs, I suppose. Said that word a lot.
Thank you. I have no fun acronym like that. Just one meeting to report on the Transportation Advisory Committee meeting. We met and discussed the service request presentation that Nicole Henderson provided, and of course it's live on our website, so that's very exciting, as well as the Safe Streets Action Plan, which I know council has heard about. And then also we were lucky with our transportation planner to provide some information on city safety concerns, and then the election of a chair and vice chair. That was it. Thank you.
I attended the Tiger Lake Oswego Water Partnership Committee with Councilor Robbins. We have chair and vice chair election. I was elected chair, and we receive the water district received typical number of a customer inquiry about water quality, typically 0 to 5 per quarter, and they were investigated and resolved if necessary. And the partnership is operating within budget, so that's good. I also attended the TIF Grant Committee meeting with Councilor Schleck, and enough said. I also attended the Town Center Advisory Commission meeting. The commission received briefing from City Attorney about executive session and Community Director Kirkman about parking, downtown parking, which I believe we're going to receive the same presentation later this evening. And the TCAC is coming for a joint meeting with us next week, so you will hear more about what they're working on and what they have been working on, what they're planning to work on in the coming year. And they also receive update on the various projects in the downtown and Tiger Triangle area. Just of interest to me at least is the city applied again for the race grant for 72nd Avenue and for the 3rd time. Unfortunately, due to the changing federal administration, the city staff do not believe that we'll get it the 3rd time. So the city is looking elsewhere for opportunity to fund the 72nd Avenue improvement. So, and it doesn't call race grant anymore. it changed to a different name, so.
Build. Right, build?
Bill,
Yep.
yeah, so, yep, that's all I have. Thank you.
I attended the Tiger Lake Oswego meeting with Councilor Hu, and that was it. Right when we got our new assignments, there was the Council for Community Engagement, and so I did not attend that because I didn't know about it, but I will get on it next time.
Yeah, and that one's tough because they meet every other month, so. Staggered. Well, thank you, everyone. I sort of gave an update last week, but at the WCCC, well, too many C's, too many acronyms in government. We were just talking about that earlier. The Washington County Coordinating Committee did approve the TDT funding for McDonald Street. So I just want to say again, like, what a big deal it is, because our community has been reaching out to us for years, especially all the kids that cross that street to get to school, and how unsafe it is because it's hard to see and no sidewalks and all those sorts of things. So continue to get the funding and really kick off that project. So I'm excited to hear more about it in the update today. The Region 1 Act, I just want to shout out to Joe Wisniewski, who gave a presentation on Tigard and what we did for the Jurisdictional Transfer Committee, which I think is a really important conversation that we're having as far as what the committee is doing, how Tigard, and then Hood River also did a presentation, but just laying the groundwork for the state, you know, to have a process to do it moving forward. So really important discussion there that was had, and had a lot of discussions with Chair Harrington about the WCCLS. So thank you for summarizing that. I have nothing to add. So excellent. And active with legislative updates and continuing to follow updates, I think, most intently with the potential transportation package, which has the opportunity to be transformational for our state. So hoping that that continues to move forward, but understanding it's a challenge for sure. Any questions for anybody on any of the boards or committees? All right, seeing none, we will move to our community service organization updates. We have both Community Warehouse and Mask and Mirror Theater here today. So we will start with Community Warehouse, and I'd like to welcome up Phil Garrig-Scott. Yes. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. If you just want to just come on up to the table, if you want to turn the microphone on, and super excited to hear about it because Community Warehouse is awesome, and they're in Tigard.
We sure are.
Yep.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil. I'm the Senior Manager of Communications at Community Warehouse, and I'm joined by my colleague. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dryden Driggers. I'm the new Community Outreach Coordinator at Community Warehouse, so you'll see me a lot at different meetings and tablings and events here in the area, I hope.
Yeah.
Thanks. I just want to remind you to speak into the microphone because we can all hear you in the room, but we also record it online.
I can repeat that. My name's Dryden Driggers. I'm the new Community Outreach Coordinator at Community Warehouse, and I hope to see you guys all at city events, tabling opportunities, and lots of meetings.
And Dryden never leaves home without some handouts, so if you're interested in something to take home, she's got you covered. So what is Community Warehouse? If you're not familiar, Community Warehouse is a nonprofit furniture bank. If you've never heard that term furniture bank, it's a lot like food bank, but for furniture. So we collect donated, gently used furniture and household items from the community, and we redistribute those to folks in our community overcoming adversity, whether that be overcoming homelessness or leaving a domestic violence situation or entering our community as refugees, whatever the situation might be that someone finds themselves in an empty home in need of these things that help create comfort and stability. That's what we're here for. And we do that through connecting with social service agencies in the community. So we have 3 locations. Well, currently we have 2 furniture banks, one in Portland, Northeast Portland, and one in Tigard. It recently relocated from Tualatin to Tigard in September. And then we have a donation center in Gresham that will very soon begin taking client appointments as well. And so we with those 2, soon to be 3 furniture banks, we connect with over 200 social service agencies whose case managers bring their clients to our furniture bank for an hour appointment where they can pick out the furniture and the kitchen items and decor items that they need, and they can either take it home with them that day, or we also have a delivery service as well for clients where we can get that to their house the next day or the next business day. Our most needed items in our furniture bank are mattresses. I always start with that because people often don't realize that we do take mattresses, and it's a highly needed item. For good reason. People are the most excited to not have to sleep on the floor, but to get a good night's sleep in a mattress. Box springs, dressers, sofas and love seats, pillows and blankets, towels and linens, small kitchen tables, pots and pans, dishes and silverware, coffee makers, microwaves, and toasters. The list of what we accept is much longer than that, and there might be some things that surprise you, so I highly recommend checking out our website to see the full list of things that we collect. And just to illustrate the impact that furniture can have on folks in the community, I'm going to read a quote that was from a case manager just a few weeks ago with Home Plate Youth Services there in Beaverton, and this is what that case manager said. I work with youth 12 to 24, and the ones we bring here are generally 18 to 24 years old. It's generally their first apartment ever, so it's their first time furnishing anything. For some of them, it's the first time they've had a bed in a really long time. One of the best parts is all the options that they can walk in and choose which couch fits their style. What is their style? To even have those conversations with them. I think it's cool to be able to see them, be able to pick out what they like, and know that they're deserving of getting things. Sometimes they don't want to take from other people or think, I don't need that because I haven't had that before. But everyone deserves to have a couch, a place to eat, and have those separate areas. When you're sleeping outside or in a shelter, your bed becomes your dining room table, your place to have fun, and all of those things, and it's just mentally good to have those separate areas. I always tell them to look at the art and stuff because a lot of times it's just the little things. Like you see a piece of art and you're like, oh, that brings me joy. And then you get to put it in your wall and now it feels like a home and you got to make those choices. That autonomy is huge. I love being able to bring youth here and they're always shocked at how many things they can take, and that's so great. What I like about that quote is it really illustrates the dignity of what we try to do at the furniture bank. It is essential items, but it's more than that too. It's helping to have some autonomy and some comfort in a situation where a lot of folks haven't felt like they've had that in some time. So that's what we do in a nutshell. And how do we serve the Tigard community? So in 2024, Community Warehouse served 121 households from the city of Tigard specifically. And that shakes out to 346 individuals. 145 of those are children. Total, our Westside Furniture Bank served in 2024 3,784 people. They were referred to from the following Tigard-based, or the Tigard-specific clients that we served were referred to from the following Tigard-based social service agencies: Boys and Girls Aid, Bridges to Change, Community Action, Easter Seals Oregon, Family Promise of Tualatin Valley, Good Neighbors Center, New Narrative Spring Creek Center, Just Compassion, Tigard Tualatin School District, Tigard Tualatin Family Resource Center. And likely in 2025, that list will be even larger. We don't have a limit on who can partner with us. Any agency can partner with us so long as they go through our case manager orientation. We also provide the Tigard community a great local option to donate their gently used furniture and household items rather than throw perfectly good items away. In January alone, I don't have the stats for Tigard-specific residents, but the Tigard location was visited by 600 donors in the month of January. And then we also pick up donations for a small fee as well for folks that can't bring their stuff to us. And we also offer a place to meaningfully volunteer, either on a recurring basis or via group volunteer event or pop-up events. And so where did the city's grant funds go to support this work? So all the funds have been spent to supplement Community Warehouse's cost of providing furniture bank services to 346 Tigard residents. Yes, the furniture we get is donated, but there is quite a bit of overhead cost in making all of that magic happen of collecting the furniture and connecting it to those who need it. It also helped support us in moving our furniture bank from Tualatin to Tigard to open that up and get that started. And Tigard is a really great location to us because it's more accessible to those seeking our services overall, and while still not being too far from Tualatin, where we kind of built up a following over the past 12 years. Yeah, I think I'll stop there. So any questions?
Thank you so much. I have had the pleasure of having a tour of Community Warehouse in Tigard. It's off of Tigard Street, so you may have noticed the little A-frame sign that they have sticking out there. And it was incredible, right? You talk about people in situations that are really, really challenging, and they're getting to live in an apartment or a new space for the first time, or for the first time in a long time. And I think about how wonderful it is to be able to pick things, which a lot of us take for granted, that we're able to choose between things and pick what goes in our home. And things may not be the perfect style, but there's the honor and the dignity in being able to do that and put together something that represents them, that they get to live in. I also love that there's a place that I can donate my stuff now, and know that it's going to a really great cause. Some of the interesting things that I learned, and I'm going to ask you some of those questions to help prompt them. How long is your wait list?
Yeah, so wait times are too long right now for appointments. They're about 6 to 8 weeks out, which is too long for someone to not have a bed to sleep on or a table to eat at. So that's a huge reason that we are working to expand and open up services in Gresham, hopefully this month.
And how many appointments do you have a day?
So we have up to 12 appointments per location. Some of those are virtual appointments, some of those are in person. So right now, up to 24 appointments per day. Soon that will be more as well. And sometimes those appointments are for families, right? So 24 appointments a day doesn't mean we need 24 mattresses a day. It might mean we need 50 mattresses a day.
Yeah, when I had stopped by, there was a family there, and so there was some kids, helping to pick out some of the stuff. So with that, how long is the furniture on site? What's your rotation between when people deliver?
I'm so glad you asked that, because I was going to interrupt and say, I forgot to say, this is like one of my favorite things. So if people want a direct way to serve the community, this is it. When people donate, most large furniture items are out the door within 2 to 48 hours and are in someone's home. Sometimes it's faster than that. I've literally helped someone unload a couch from their van, and then the client says, oh, that's a great couch, I'll choose that. And out it goes, right? And then that person's using it and enjoying it. So it has a real tangible impact.
I feel like I'm just helping you out. But these are like the conversations that I was having, where it just feels really a really wonderful organization that directly gives back and has a huge impact. Again, I want to highlight that they are one of the few organizations that you can donate a used but still good condition mattress, because a lot of people talk about not knowing what to do. Please, Community Warehouse, keep that in mind. There are individuals who need mattresses. And I also want us to think outside of the box for our community. Businesses, are you getting in new furniture and you have old desks? Our community needs desks. You have a place to take it. Hotels, if you're looking at doing turnover or renovations, please don't throw your furniture away. Your office chairs, your office equipment, that can go into people's homes and, perhaps even be a makeshift table or an office space for someone to do it. So it's not just our residents are, thinking of homes in our communities, but also our businesses that can really get involved and help make a difference. So I wanted to throw all of that out there, and but also open it up for additional questions. Councillor Shaw.
Thank you so much, and I'm so thrilled that Community Warehouse is in Tigard. And to echo the mayor's comment, not only just businesses but also nonprofits. I've been involved in a recent downsize of a nonprofit, and we were able to donate a dining room table and chairs and a whole host of kitchen items because we moved from a large office to a smaller office. And so you mentioned we literally unloaded the table and the chairs, and literally a family said, that's what we want. And it did go right into another car.
Love that.
So that was pretty exciting. So just echoing the great work you're doing, and I'm glad we have the ability to provide the resources we have in our home to Community Warehouse for other homes. So thank you.
I just wanted to add two things. One, at our Portland location now, we are actually able to do mattress recycling, but we are looking for space and partnerships here in the Tigard area to be able to also take mattresses that may not be quality enough for our clients, but that we can then recycle those materials. There's a company now that we're partnering with to do that here in the Tri-County area. Also, I run collection events, so if you have a group that would like to have boxes out in your hallway or your fellowship hall or your church or whatnot, we can collect small items that way. I'm happy to bring those to you, bring signage, whatever. And I'll reiterate, volunteers. We really love having volunteers, either at our pop-up events or as regular weekly volunteers helping us out, because we have a lot to sort through, especially with like the small pieces.
What are your donation hours and days of the week?
Yeah, we are open Tuesday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then for donation pickups, we're usually scheduled about a week out, so you can just sort of plan on that.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Yeah, Councilor Robbins.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you so much for presenting. This is, just to echo, this is very exciting. And I remember my first apartment, and I'm going to pick everything, and then how expensive it was.
Yes.
It was overwhelming. Regarding volunteers, what are the age requirements? Do you allow teens to come, or a scout troop to come, or?
Yeah, great question. Minors can come with adults, yeah. And so if there's like a group event and the minors can come with adults, that's permitted. Otherwise, 18 and up without a parent or guardian. And then we, yeah, on our website, on the volunteer page, we also have some other opportunities for like off-site volunteering that like community groups could do as well. So like blanket fort building for a cause. People can bring their old blankets and pillows and have a party where they can fort build, and then they can bring it to us and donate, and other fun ideas like that as well.
Oh no, I hope my daughter wasn't listening. She watches every Tuesday night, and we were just building forts, so we're going to give her ideas. She's 4, by the way. Any additional questions or comments? Thank you so much for being here tonight and helping raise the awareness of
Thank
Community
you all.
Warehouse.
The Tigard community has been so supportive thus far, so really appreciate it. Thank you.
Additionally, we have John Bartholomew from Mask and Mirror Theater. I apologize, I'm not as familiar, but I am excited to hear more about you. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm also here with Rick Hoover, who's also a member of our executive board. I'm a resident of Tualatin, so I am less than happy that Community Warehouse has left Tualatin. We loved going there. We'd drop things off and we'd visit the showroom, as well as the one in downtown Portland. So we wish you luck continuing on here in Tigard. So my name is John Bartholomew. I've been a member of Mask and Mirror since its 2nd season. We're currently in our 14th season. Rick will give you more details on our overall theater. I have been past president of the theater. I'm currently the secretary on our executive board. I'm also the webmaster, grant writer, and quite a few other things. Rick?
Okay. Yes, my name is Rick Hoover. I'm the current president of Mask and Mirror. Prior to that, vice president and board member, and set designer, set builder. We both do anything that our hats can take on. Did you want?
No, why don't you?
Oh, you ready? Okay. Mask and Mirror has presented plays in the area at Rise Church, and we've been in business since 2011, now in our 14th season. We've had over 50 productions done, over 400 plus including shows during our COVID procedure. You know, when COVID was going on, we were doing online shows, just to be able to keep our name out into the public. 3 shows in Tigard per year, again, like I said, at Rise Church. And we do also 2 smaller shows in Tualatin, which are referred to as our unmasked shows. Our shows at Tigard, at Rise Church, are family friendly. Our ones in Tualatin are a little more edgy, a little more adult oriented. We estimate about 13,000 patrons have seen our shows. We have well in that number with cast and crew. We have people from all over the area coming in. We have a Facebook following of about 1,200, and this is an all-volunteer theater. No payment is made, all volunteers, and that goes with performers, technical work, the whole shooting match.
So just to clarify things, when Rick said 3 shows per year, that's 3 productions. We actually do 9 performances of each. So it's 24 shows are put on here in Tigard, and we also do 9 of each of the 2 shows in Tualatin. So Rick gave you the top line. Let me give you the bottom line. Why we apply for a grant every year. Our average main stage show here in Tigard runs $8,000 or more to perform, times 3. Our unmasked shows are over $4,000 to produce, times 2. That's around a $35,000 budget just on our shows. Now, we need to make a bit of profit on every show. Why is that? We're a nonprofit. We have overhead expenses that cover the whole season. So that was just talking about each show. We have things like insurance for our board, for our volunteers, and more. We have storage costs. We have ASCAP BMI fees we have to pay for the music we play before, after, and during intermission. We have a website and more. So we're a small shoestring theater. We obviously cost a lot less. We're nowhere near the cost of a professional or semi-professional theater. Went to see a friend who was cast in a show downtown. $55 per ticket, plus service charges, plus parking. That adds up. Our tickets are $10 to $20. $10 youth, $15 unmasked, $20 for full-price adult. We have senior discounts. We have group discounts beyond that. Unmasked shows are just $15. We're also a member of the Arts for All program for Portland area art groups. $5 tickets for Oregon Trail card holders. Our audiences, the range is a large part are seniors, 60 plus. Around the COVID time, we sat down and came up with a equity and inclusion statement. I'd like to read that to you so you know where we're coming from here. Mascon Mirror Community Theater's focus and intent is casting the best actors available for each role and encourages racial, cultural, gender, and artistic diversity. Roles are open to non-traditional casting where appropriate. We have a auditions list that people sign up for online. We reach out to over 100 actors in the area for every show, try to bring them in an audition. Rick just auditioned a show that we're going to be putting on in May. And we also connect with the downtown Portland theater scene. There's a big E-list for downtown that's about 2,500 folks. So, we're pulling in people not just from Tigard and Tualatin, but also the greater Portland area to bring their talents here into the Tigard area. So, since our inception, the city of Tigard has provided a grant support nearly every year. I've been the grant coordinator for about the past 5 years. Before that, I know our other grant coordinator, I think he missed 1 year because he was quite ill and couldn't submit things in time. We just got our application in for the coming grant season. So again, thank you so much for your support, and we look forward to continued working with the city. But Rick is going to give you the but, the capital B-U-T but that has just hit us.
As I said, we've been with Rise Church for at least 10 years, if not longer. And during that time, what they were doing is they were charging us $2,000 per show, per production. So we do 9 shows of a play, and they charge us $2,000. Last year, they came up and said, we've been really nice about this, but we are doubling the cost. We went from $2,000 per production to $4,000 per production. Inflation has also added to things like building sets where we have to get wood and any type of set pieces. Things have gotten more expensive. Costumes, props, advertising costs have gone up. We're working hard to break even as our season expenses have been raised, between the 5 shows, administrative costs, insurance, storage, everything has gone up for us. So we still need help because we want to keep our shows affordable. We don't want to, we raised our prices for the first time 2 years ago. And then this last year we raised them $2 a ticket, and that was all. We don't want to jump way high on this because we enjoy having our audience there. We feel getting people to come in is a lot better than to overcharge and not have that many people show up. We do have 2 shows coming up at Rise Church starting in February 28th. We're doing a show called Pride and Prejudice, which will run from February 28th to March 16th. And then, like Bart had mentioned, See How They Run, which is the show that I'm directing, opens in May 2nd through the 16th. We also have a final Unmasked show out in Tualatin that will be running in July.
And just to give you an idea of the size of the community involved in Pride and Prejudice, it's a cast of 25. That's quite a bit for a small community theater to manage. That's an age range of 15 to 65 in the cast. So it's quite a community. I'm looking forward to seeing the show. It opens in 10 days and runs for 3 weekends, Friday evening, Saturday evening, and Sunday matinees. You can get tickets on our website, by the way, www.maskandmirror.com.
Okay. We do have 2 things about this. First off, did you want to cover this chart?
I guess I can.
Yeah.
I can cover the first one. Yeah. We're working from our script here. We would love to continue to engage with the City of Tigard in any and every way we can. Back in 2018, we did a large show called Tony and Tina's Wedding, which was held at the Tigard United Methodist Church, and we had it was sort of a combined dinner theater arrangement with Davidson's next door. So we're always looking for these ways to sort of engage better with the Tigard community. So we're looking forward to continuing to deliver quality theater at affordable prices for the residents of Tigard.
To that end, we have been, as I said, been paying $2,000 per production. Now we're paying $4,000 per production. And we are also at the whim of Rise Church to be able to be working on the stage or finding some other place to work. One of the things that we would like to look into with the City of Tigard is if there is a building that we can call home. We've been, like I said, at Rise for quite a few years, but it would be much nicer to be able to have some place that we can stay at. We don't have to worry about having the church say, well, we have pickleball going on every day of the week, so you can't use the theater area. You have to use one of the classrooms downstairs. We would like to be able to have something that would be more permanent. It would be very nice. If there are any buildings that you know of, any structures that would be workable for something like this, we would love to hear about that. The area is opened. We would love to be here and in a permanent place as opposed to Rise. But until then, we will be performing for you guys at Rise every year.
And after any questions you have, we're off to work on set construction over at Rise tonight. Yeah, it never ends.
Please ask a lot of questions, so we don't have to work too hard.
I was going to say, with the show that close, is your anxiety building as you're sitting here on your to-do list getting longer?
Every show is a bit of an anxiety producer. We're on a shoestring budget, and we have a lot of actors and directors who are regulars with us, but we also have folks who are new. So making sure that those folks know how to use a rented facility that we are just borrowing temporarily from our landlords at Rise, we want to make sure that we do right by Rise. So but it's always a bit of anxiety there too, not just the jitters of being on stage.
Are there questions, comments? Yeah, Councillor Shaw?
Exciting. Thank you so much for the presentation. Really great to hear and how many of the communities involved, and the price is fantastic. Do you also apply for grants through the City of Tualatin, since you have the more adult version there?
Yes, there are a number of sources that we apply for. City of Tualatin has a much smaller arts budget, but they do, and we apply for that. The Oregon Cultural Trust works through the Cultural Coalition of Washington County. They also offer grants, and for our unmasked shows, we apply for that. So only the City of Tigard provides grants that apply to our shows here at Rise. The others are for the unmasked shows. There are other sources. Oregon, there's another one, I can't remember what it was a few years ago. You can only apply to it every 2 years. So there are the occasional other sources. Federal level grants will probably be more difficult to obtain going forward, but they also require a humongously long application. You're essentially filling in the same application that a defense contractor does. Many things are not applicable, but it's a huge application. So we appreciate the more localized grants.
Thank you so much for being here today. And it was great to learn more about Mask and Mirrors, and look forward to your shows that are upcoming. And again, what was that website in case people want tickets?
I'll say it more slowly this time. www.maskandmirror.com, all one word.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is a community development quarterly update, and we have our community development director, Kirkman, to present the item.
Next slide. Good evening, councilors and mayor. Next slide. The last CD quarterly update was provided November 23rd, 2023, almost 15 months ago. As this is my first quarterly update to council, I wanted to provide a broad update and about the many projects and programs within community development, with the idea that as we proceed with additional updates throughout the year, more specific information can be provided, especially projects or programs the council may be interested in. I'll apologize now for Councilor Robbins and Councilor Gudusi, as we've this may be a little bit repetitive from our recent onboarding you've done. Anyways, the updates will be broken into 5 divisions: planning, building, transportation, economic development, and redevelopment. So next slide. The planning division is made up of both current and long-range planning. The slide here references long-range planning, which are developments and that develops principles and policies for how communities and Tigers will evolve. These policies are often influenced by state mandates, such as which a current key focus is housing. 3 notable long-range planning projects the planning team is working on are River Terrace 2.0, Tigard Home, and Downtown Reimagine. For River Terrace 2.0, the planning team has been working with consultants on climate goal setting, preliminary analysis, and stakeholder engagement. The housing plan will be completed between late May to early June. Public open houses, both online and in person, are expected to begin next month, and the team is also engaged in the annexation process. The city is preparing the annexation ballots now, planning to send them out sometime in early March. The annexation requires triple majority, so the timeline for annexation will depend on how the ballots are received. Tigard Home is development code changes allowing for more options for employment, amenities, services, and housing. We are currently working on the scope of the project and selecting consultants. An update to council is expected this spring. For the Downtown Reimagined, we are on the second phase of this project, looking at development code changes. This project had been currently on a slight pause, as we have team members of ours currently working on our Tyler implementation. But we're expected to start the development code process changes early fiscal year 26, with updates to the council probably fall of this year. Next slide. Current planning, which Councilor Schacht had done a great job of updating the the group on. Current planning is implementing the components of planning through updates to the development code and comprehensive plan, which the council adopts, as well as reviewing development proposals. The council often does not see those development proposals unless it's appealed. The most current planning projects we had are the food cart code, which was approved by council on the 28th of January. Activity is currently underway to notify all known existing food truck carts of the updated code and the opportunity to register as an established food truck cart prior to January 28th. It seems to be a tongue twister for me. I'm not quite certain why. The other two are the overlook at River Terrace and the Tigard Street Bridge, which again, I appreciate Councilor Schlack's update on that. Next slide. Here is a summary of our building department permits and inspections that have been done through through 2024. Excuse me. I think a question was raised with regards to just the dip in the number of new cases for the fiscal year between the calendar year between 23 and 24. I did talk to our building official, and he's indicated that while the total number of new cases and overall permits issued are slightly down, the type of cases has a bigger impact for the department than the number of cases. And as you can see, we're slightly up in our valuations. So his thoughts are we're keeping a close eye on it, but we seem to be feeling good about the numbers that we're seeing for our cases. Next
Do
slide.
we want to stop and ask for questions under planning?
I'm sorry. I guess I should have figured out if it's easier to stop at the different divisions. Would that
Yeah,
be
I
helpful?
think that's probably a good natural stopping point. Are there questions? Yep, Councilor President.
Thank you so much, Sambo. So I had the interest in you talking about the year-over-year drop, and so that makes total sense because the valuation is up. So is that more commercial then? I'm just probably wanting to go one layer deeper, and I'm not sure if you can answer that.
The breakdown we actually don't have the breakdown on the evaluations. I could provide that as a follow-up to council.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, it would just be interesting to kind of say
Happy to.
if it's down, but it's good news because value is up, what that mix looks like. And then my second question jumps back to annexation. So really appreciate the update on kind of the process where we are. And then just kind of look forward. I'm sorry, Sam, I didn't hear kind of that next update, if you will, in terms of if ballots are going out, when council might have an update on the response.
And my apologies for being vague on that. I think the abilities to give that update will be dependent on the return of those actual ballots. So again, we have to look at the triple majority. So to proceed forward with the full annexation of the area will require us to kind of see what comes in from the actual property owners in the area.
What is the overlook at River Terrace? I'm
Overlook?
familiar with everything else.
I think there's a picture of one of the, if we go back. It is a planned unit development with 81 lots that includes small farm, residential, and row houses. And so it is located, I'm drawing a blank, off of Bull, I'm trying to think, phoning a friend here.
Roy Rogers, Bull
It's
Mountain.
not Roy Rogers and Bull Mountain, yes.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Yes.
I'm just curious.
I can provide you with the updated plans on that as well.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Any additional questions regarding planning? Yeah, Councilor Robbins?
Thank you. I just have a quick question. What does triple majority mean?
When an annexation is to occur, you are often required to have the petitioners, the actual property owners, and so it's the number of lots. So triple majority would mean that we'd have more than, I believe, 50% of the property owners, 50% of the land area, and over 50% of the valuation, I believe, of the properties in the area itself. So it's an acknowledgement that it's more than just a few people, but a larger portion of it, and knowing that the lot sizes can vary, and also its value. Okay. Sorry, I'm speeding through this, so I will try to slow down a little. Very
Do you
excited
need some
about
water or anything? You're going to be talking a lot.
Happy to do it. I'm just super excited about what my team's doing. So I'll go to the next slide. Great. So for transportation, we've got 3 projects that are currently underway. Power to the Pedal, where it's a free bike library available to residents of low income apartments. Currently, there are 2 locations, both Greenberg Oaks and Red Rock Creek Commons. The e-mobility project, EGO, will be heading to council this spring for a project update, as well as we're expecting to provide final plans and the completion of it this summer. Safe Street Action Plan, which the council was able to learn an update about last week. We are expecting to provide council with another update in the spring, also with plans to go to council in the summer to adopt a final plan. For other transportation work the transportation team does, we often work on grants for various transportation projects. 2 that I would point out, one of which Councilor Hu has been kind enough to update us is on the RAISE grant versus BUILD. That did get changed with the administration, and we have submitted for that for the BUILD grant, which, by the way, if you're looking at acronyms, it went from TIGERD to RAISE to BUILD, just in case anyone, all with our transportation from the Department of Transportation. The other project that we'd note is Tank Up, which is Tualatin and neighbors charging up. It was our e-charging program that is now currently put on pause. We were working with City of Tualatin on that project. Any questions on transportation?
I just want to add that the pause is at the federal level,
Yes.
and it's not due to anything from the city. It's a federally funded program where the funding has been frozen. Any additional questions? Councilor Shaw?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for highlighting the Tank Up was federal dollars. The Power to the Pedal, the e-bike lending library pilot program has been a huge success. It was extended. Does that pilot program now end and it's just going to continue permanently as a lending library, or is it still a pilot?
It is intended to run for at least 6 more years. Yeah, come on. I'll have a few of my team members here to follow up.
And I'll make sure to introduce myself first. I'm Tiffany Gerke. I'm the Principal Transportation Planner for anyone listening. So with that grant award with the grant that we received for that program, it did emphasize that it was for, I think, 10 years. 10 years. Now our first year was operated by not the city. We worked with Westside Transportation Alliance to operate that, and they were a huge help in getting it off the ground. But now we're transitioning into bringing it really inside so that we can have a sustained operations and oversight. So we've been working on that for the past year, and with my current opening, because I currently have an opening in staff, we're looking at even restructuring that a little bit so that more of an emphasis is on the successful oversight of that program, and maybe even looking at other potential programs to help bring a little bit more outreach and awareness to our communities of transportation options. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, with Power to the Pedal, we also recently got a grant, and I have the bike baskets now, and I've been installing bike baskets on our bikes at the 2 locations so that people can go to the grocery store and put things in the bikes.
I'll just add, I love seeing the Power to the Pedal bikes in the wild. If I've come across them and I'm like, hey, I know what that is, and it's super cool to think of our community members taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
Any additional questions on transportation? All right.
Next slide. Economic development. We have several programs running through our economic development division. One of the few that I wanted to highlight is, one of them is launch pods. Applications are being taken for 2 new food cart tenants, likely to be operating at Universal Plaza by spring of this year. The concession area for the existing building will be the new location for Nunny Phoebes this spring. The Opportunity Cafe, which is located in the public library, is still being run by Cholitas and should be there through November 25th, and we're looking to recruit for new businesses likely this fall. We've done multiple business spotlights. 5 businesses were spotlighted for 2024. Good Cake Bakery, Jeffrey Allen Gallery, Pinnacles Wellness Center, Joy Cinemas and Pub, and the Cake Cupolas. Let's see here. 2 local businesses have also been will be spotlighted in 2025, including Rubicon Rugs and the Practice Family. We've also been working on small business workshops. Our focus has been on our Spanish language programs through Los Empresarios, and it's delivered about 1 workshop per quarter. The next one is in March with a focus on business registration processes such as the state's co-bid program. We've also been working on workforce grants. We've had 3 recipients ranging from classes on general business courses, actually guitar building classes, and then office management courses. So those are a few things from our economic development team. Did you have any questions?
It sounds cool to build guitars.
I thought so too.
Councilor Hu?
Thank you, Mayor. So if I hear this correctly, the food pots in the in the Universal Plaza may be empty this summer until the fall?
No, we're expecting them to be filled this spring, but
I
have our economic development manager here.
Okay, so I thought I heard you say you're going to pick them in the fall, but.
Hi, Danelle Hawther, Economic Development Manager for the City of Tigard. So the incubator programs are currently in transition. We graduated 2 program participants last year, and then we also have the opportunity to transition and better utilize the space at Universal Plaza by shifting Nunny and Phoebe's Ice Creamery into the concession stand for a seasonal offering. We have both of the city-owned food trucks, both the orange cart and the green cart, available for our next program participants. So the application period that's open right now is for 2 new tenants into the Launch Pod program. And that Launch Pod program, the Business Incubator program, is eligible for up to 2 years. We do welcome if participants are ready to launch before that, but we do want to give them the full 2 years of support in order to build their business. So we will be expanding from the original program offering of the orange cart and the green cart. This last year, around this time, 2024, we added a operator-owned cart, which is Wow Cow. And this year in April, we will expand to use the concession area, so we'll have a total of 4 operators this coming spring through the next cycle of operators. The Opportunity Cafe is also a 2-year, caps out at a 2-year program, and that lease is set to transition in November of this year. So we'll start recruitment for our next operator in probably August, so that we've got them ready to go with a pretty short turnaround time. Our turnaround time with the launch pods was a little bit different because it's really hard to launch a food cart business in November. So we gave grace and patience to the program, and we really want to launch our new participants in the spring so that the start of their season is spring into summer.
Thank you for the clarification. I was worried that we're going to have empty food cart in the summer, but
no!
It sounds like we're going to have even more selection
even
at the
more
at the Universal Plaza, so I'm very excited. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fun to think of Nunny and Phoebe's to be in the concession area. It makes sense because I think they probably really struggled in the winter, right? So, yeah, their ice cream is so good. Councilor Shaw?
Thank you, and thank you so much for the report. And I know we've had a lot of fantastic new faces in the community development between transportation, economic development, planning, permitting, and the economic development plan is probably perhaps needs to be updated. So do you have a time frame of when holistically looking at the city as a whole, not just for the downtown area, but for the Tiger Triangle, for 99, and for other community areas, what that economic development plan looks like from an umbrella and then strategically? So just want to see when that update would be happening.
That is something I think we'll be working on as well, but right now, what we're hoping to do is ensure that the programs that we have currently running are functioning well and efficient, and that's kind of been the focus that we've had currently. So that I'll make a note of that and see where we want to fit that into the work program. Okay, great. Thank you. Next up is redevelopment. Next slide. Okay, so a few items for redevelopment. The wayfinding project has completed the community engagement portion of the design over the summer months, with a standout favorite design being the teal color palette with equal support on the oak tree design of the elements, or in the multiple streets. So you can kind of see the teal one. It's the bottom left, I think. Yeah.
With the yellow?
With the yellow. So we are currently right now working with ODOT, because we need to ensure that the design meets the MUTCD, and please don't ask me what the acronym stands for, and is still representing the design choice of the community while making sure ODOT is compliant. So once we have that reconciled, we'll move forward towards looking at construction and installation of those signs in the future. The next one is the building improvement grants. Through the TIF districts, we often provide matching funds for exterior and interior permanent tenant improvements. For the downtown area, we've provided grants to Rubicon Rugs and Curiosity's public art mural, which you can see from the boardwalk along Fano Creek. And then at the Triangle, we've done My One Primary Care Providers, Peter Douglas Pediatric Dentistry, Crazy Sushi, and Dragonfly Asian Bistro. So those are a few of the grants, participants of the grants. For housing, the picture here is quite interesting. We've done some, we've worked on some market rate through to actual, homeless shelter facilities here in the Tigard area. So we've got Woodland Hearth, Community Partners for Affordable Housing, which is providing, who is currently working on the construction of 63-unit affordable housing development. Reach will be, is nearing completion on their 85-unit development, and expecting to look at a second phase probably next year. Family Promise is working on their remodel of their units. Currently, they believe there's about 80 units available, and with their commercial kitchen and installation of sprinklers, we'll probably see more units out of their facility. And of course, Just Compassion's ribbon cutting is this March for their shelter and supportive services. And the other picture there is the Steward, which is our net zero building. It is our market rate housing with 55 units. Any questions about redevelopment?
Councilor Who?
Thank you, Mayor. So remind me again, does downtown wayfinding include signs for parking, for cars to find parking, or is that not
No,
included?
it's more focused on kind of the pedestrian scale.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Do we have any plan to enhance parking signage in that downtown area so people driving knows where to park better?
We haven't discussed a downtown parking map or plan. That's something we could probably explore as we start talking about more and more of the parking management program and where it goes, which is a great segue to our next item for tonight.
Okay, and not focusing on downtown. It's just current. Right now we have many new segment trail of for Fennel Creek Trail new segment coming up. Do we have any plan to update signage on those new section of the trail?
That is probably a conversation I would want to have with our Public Works folks, and we can follow that up for council on potential signage changes for the parks, trails, and such. But I would want to talk to our Public Works team specifically in our parks.
All right. Yeah, I've been using those new sections, and many of those signs are out of date already. So yeah, thank you.
Any additional questions or on anything else that was brought up? Thank you so much for your update.
Thank you.
Are you staying here for the next item?
I am.
Well, welcome back for the Parking Management Program update for downtown and the Tigard Triangle.
Thank you. Again, Community Development Director Sambo Kirkman, and with me I have our redevelopment.
Sean Farley, Redevelopment Manager.
So our last update to council was on December 13th, just outlining what we thought the direction of our parking management program should go. From that council meeting, I think there were 4 key elements that came out, which was there was definitely an interest to proceed with expanding the time restrictions of the on-street parking spaces to include the additional hour to 7 p.m. and to include Saturdays to encourage more turnover and activity in the downtown area both at night and during the weekends. The second item was to begin work with the third-party parking management vendor, the first week of March with a 6-month warning program. This was to allow time for the team to collect data from the vendor before any action towards citations would begin. The fourth item was to pause on the start of any employee permit parking program to collect more data on the impact of such a program on the area businesses. And the fourth item was to collect more data from area businesses on their interest in both the permit and enforcement components of the parking management program. The idea was to come back today and to give you an update on where we are with the program itself and what we found. Our team did go out and tried to collect additional data from the business community. The interesting part, or a layer to this, is that the Tigard Downtown Alliance was also doing a survey as well. So we had a bit of dueling data collection at the time. And what we provided to the council was basically a table of the information that we'd been collecting. And from what we've learned is that there really isn't a consistent pattern to what the community wants when it comes to, our business community wants when it comes to the parking program. And we felt that this was probably a time for us to maybe consider how to approach this in a more thoughtful manner. And so what we're proposing tonight is a modification of the data collection that we had talked about for the 6-month period. And in front of you is an exhibit that shows a new kind of enforcement timeline that we're proposing to look at, which is to spend the first 2 months, March 1st through April 30th, basically allowing our third-party vendor to collect the data daily on what the usage of parking is in both the downtown and Triangle area. That would give us an opportunity to then bring that information to council to understand what we're seeing when it comes to just pure collection of data. We would then follow that up with from May 1st through June 30th, a notification and education program, where we would then go and have our parking contractors assist us in educating businesses and residences in the downtown area about a parking enforcement and parking management for both the Triangle and downtown. And again, prior to actually doing warning citations, make the effort to kind of talk to the community a little bit more about what this enforcement would look like. Then we'd follow that up with spending July 1st through August 31st providing warning citations. This would be the actual citations on the cars that are expired, who's overstayed the times. This would allow us the time to kind of slowly transition the area into understanding what citations would look like and begin the program. The thought is, and then of course beginning the enforcement September 1st. The thought is that we were intending to come back to council both at the 2, 4, and 6 month mark, which would put us right between each of these key points to be able to then provide all the data. Because as much as we will be collecting straight data the first 2 months, the parking contractors would be collecting it throughout the 6 month period. So we'd be able to come back and provide that data to council, and again, encourage us to kind of have to talk with the community members and provide that to council and determine what the next step would what the next mindful step would be. I will have to say that as we were talking with our at the TCAC meeting, one of the things that was provided to us is that businesses were feeling kind of that adequate outreach still hasn't been provided. So what we are also proposing to do is at the 1 month mark, so early part of April, prior to coming back to council, is to set up another business forum to allow them to see the data that we've collected for the first month, and again, describe our processes in getting to the actual, the various steps to get to for the next 6 months. And so this would be an opportunity for us to try to encourage businesses to come out, to come talk to us, and then be able to provide the council with additional information and the feedback we'd be receiving. So tonight, again, is just an opportunity for us to give you this update and then to determine if our method is something that you're more comfortable with, and if you had any additional feedback for us as we proceed.
Excellent. Questions? Council President Wolf?
Yes, thank you both for the update. And yeah, I just had a couple clarifying questions. So the 2 month March and April, that is purely cars in spots, how long you're there, when you turn over, when you leave,
yep,
and all that stuff. Okay, so that's what I just wanted to clarify. And I also appreciate the conversation around employees, because I think I'm totally with the idea of we're going to set up, here's how long you can park, we're going to start a citation program, and all that makes sense. And I do appreciate the kind of how do we go back out and talk to our businesses, because looking at the data, it is a little confusing. I had an opportunity to chat a little bit with Kevin Bates, and he talked about going out for a few days to try to connect, because to try to get businesses to come to you is challenging. So pushing out and collecting that data. But when I look at the numbers on the chart for like employees to what we've collected, it just is dependent, right, on who the businesses you've chatted with. So I think my point is I appreciate the opportunity to get the data, and I also understand that the purpose for TDA was different. The kind of goal of parking permits or parking needs wasn't what TDA needed, but I appreciate them sharing the data. And then I also appreciate the complexity and just kind of encourage that we continue chatting directly with businesses and maybe knocking on doors if we're not seeing them. Hopefully they'll be interested, right, with the true parking collection, and that if you hold a forum that they'll attend, because then that will be new data of constant tracking of parking activity. But anyway, I just understand the employee parking piece is a little bit more complex in trying to understand demand and need and trying to get that data. So thank you, both of you, for all you're doing to try to collect that and then work with our partners to get a good read on data. So thank you.
Councillor Shaw?
Thank you, and also thank you both. I think I was the one who actually went and said, could you please do a study of how many employees would be impacted? And it seems like we still don't quite know that answer. And I appreciate too that there was two dueling surveys potentially going on at the same time. So perhaps this, the March through April and then the May through June will be that opportunity to get that information. I'm still very concerned because even looking at the list, there's not many businesses that are around the 72nd area. There's hardly any that are downtown on Main Street. And those that do actually have parking, their own parking lot. So still very concerned about just the data. But hope that the March and May will get that additional data through that third party. And I know it's not an easy topic, and there's so many opinions, and depending if you're a resident or a renter of a business, or you actually own the property, or if you have your own parking lot, or if it's a private parking lot, there's many different nuances. So appreciate the difficultness, but I do hope the next 2 months give us data, but I'm still concerned. Thank you, Mayor.
Any additional questions or comments? I guess let me start off with, does anyone have concerns and would be against moving forward? Because she's looking for direction. So are there concerns with what has been presented and moving forward with this plan? Yeah, Councillor Shaw?
don't necessarily have concerns, except I'd want to reevaluate the September 1 citations, because again, we don't have enough data to know, and maybe the March and April and May through June will give us that data, but I'd love to have a report back and just say, we've talked to the businesses, we know how many employees would be impacted, we have this third-party data now, so I would feel comfortable getting that information before we tell the community by September 1 we're going to have citations. So that would be, I'm hesitant on the September 1 date.
And the intent is to come back to council, like I said, at month 2 and at month 4, with the opportunity for us to revise this and say, maybe this is the steps that we want to move forward with, or maybe there is another pivot that we have. Because again, these updates were an opportunity for us to provide you with as much information as we can and to figure out the next best step. And I think the best step for us at this point in time is to provide you with more data. So, yeah.
Yeah, Councilor Gadusi?
Thank you again for this. No significant concerns. The main thing that I would want to keep in mind, though, is to continue to monitor the financial impacts closely, not just with the parking specifically, but see if it does have impact on the local businesses.
Anything additional? I bet you didn't think it was going to go that quick.
No. I might have sped through my first one thinking that this is going to take a little longer.
Well, it was a very robust discussion last time, which is,
Yes.
I think, what got us here, right? So I appreciate you taking it all into consideration. I'm comfortable with the proposal, with the information we have right now, with the understanding that we can adjust if necessary.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Shout outs to my team who's been helping figure out how to pivot. So.
We have no non-agenda items this evening, and we do not have an executive session scheduled. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all of those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you so much. Good night, Tigard. We are adjourned.